From the makers of Motown Mafia, beyond the headlines, beyond the crime, beyond the glamours and gold, they don't run around the streets. They run the streets. Beyond Street Dreams. Documentary coming soon to Amazon Prime, Tubi, and Pluto TV.
What's happening, family? It is your man, CRB Jr., Cordy Robert Brown Jr. here at Big Boss Filmworks. Of course, a Motown Mafia child. And we are here, of course, with a dear friend, business associate, much acclaimed, highly acclaimed.
I was so happy to integrate your establishment, Al Prophet.
Al Prophet. How you feel, Al? You was just traveling, wasn't you?
I just went to Paris, France.
All right. Oh, yeah, and we got, don't think he ain't here. Big Lou in the background. What's happening, fam?
What up, though?
Make sure, again, before we get all started with this, you guys are hitting that like, share, and subscribe stuff. I know you got a lot of stuff you've been doing on Chicago over there on American Dope, right?
Yes.
Some hot stuff. You shot some shit and some stuff in Paris, right?
I did. I was talking about some Chicago political and gang activities while on a bridge over the Seine River with the Louvre in the background. I thought that was
hot.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah. You really bring some culture to this stuff here.
Yeah. I wish people were more. I don't know if they tamp it down in the algorithm or people aren't as interested, but some of the most interesting stuff I do, whether in whatever city, it will be involving corrupt police, political stuff with gangs and street stuff. And it does okay, but boy, some of the Chicago stuff with the police really, just like Detroit, the serpentine interweaving of police and political figures. I'm finishing up about David Barksdale and the Black Disciples. And, there's Jesse Jackson in the mix, and the mayor of Chicago, and the Chicago outfit, and political things, and black aldermen stealing money and running off to Vegas, money that was supposed to help the unemployed black youth get jobs and not be in gangs, but supposed to be 4,000 jobs, there was only 80.
Wow. So that thing, what you're doing with Chicago, before we move on, it seems like the outfit actually had a lot closer influence on the streets.
I think everywhere, I think maybe not in California, but in Detroit, as we know, you don't hear, unless these stories haven't too much come to light, because they're secret stories, like everything, but because it's even secret within a secret, right?
Right.
The black gangsters and the mafia, especially in the heroin era, but even after that, if you sit and watch even enough of that New York stuff, your Alpos and all that, you hear them, they meeting with this and that Italian.
Pleasant Ave here, Pleasant Ave
and it was
there,
for cocaine too. But there's a lot of interplay between,
organized crime,
and just white criminals,
right?
Because they're higher up the food chain. Like, ultimately, if there's 6 white people to every black person, and whites got damn near all the money and most of the political power, well, couldn't nothing too large scale be going on without a white face somewhere in the back, but they might be the cop or the politician or the person that owns the property and lets it happen there.
So you'll know who I'm talking about, but unfortunately I can't put
And the white faces aren't as exciting on the nightly news because most of the population are just trained SEALs, and we want to say, the country singer looks like this, and let me watch some criminals get arrested, and they should be black guys with velour tracksuits and gold chains, and it fulfills the public spectacle.
The big homie whose name we won't use, the whale who we got back in touch with lately, he was just saying that he's like, dude, when I started I'm talking about, he's like, when I started doing deals for more than 1,000 bricks, which is a metric ton, it's like when I got to the point of doing 2-3 metric ton, it's all
about
Jewish.
FW?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Jewish businessmen. legitimate big businessmen because, yeah. So, and I mean, I guess it doesn't make
Well,
sense.
let's put it like this.
Right.
There's plenty of small scale drug smugglers and people go get 3 kilos and swallow and all that. But there's also thousands and thousands of pounds of whatever drug coming in at once. When it comes in on tankers, somebody owns those. And of course,
Yes.
if they get caught on there, there'll be no tracing it to say the people that run the cruise line or the tanker line, there'll be no way to connect them to it, but I'm sure a nice chunk of the time, because why did they pick that tanker in particular?
Just like the counterfeit clothes, the stuff comes in containers, right? Now, just
Lots and lots of big containers. Lots of people know what's going on.
A lot of people know what's going on. So it's interesting. But yeah, that Chicago stuff you're doing is good. So make sure you guys are checking that out on American Dope. So back to Paris. What'd you think? What was your reflections?
Well, me and my father just discussed. So the thing that stood out to us most immediately was I never been in a city where all the buildings look the same. So last night we watched a documentary. So there was a guy named Haussmann. He was an architect for the French state, and in about 1860 or 70 or something. Right before 1870, Emperor Napoleon III said, "I want to redo Paris," and he gave him a huge amount of money. And they tore down, in the space of like 10 years, they tore down 20,000 buildings to build 30,000 new buildings. Right. I was like, that. So it's very, everything, it's all like white stone buildings, and they're all 6 stories. And they all pretty much, they might have a little different design and different balconies, but they're all 6 stories. They have the same architecture, same general color. They look very similar. So the streets, it's like a Lego set or something. Like it's all the buildings are the same size. They look the same. And then like Detroit, they're on it's kind of the circular avenue thing, but it's around the Seine. It's designed like a snail.
You didn't meet nobody from the French Connection over there.
Oh, I tried to avoid that. But I was amazed at how inflation in the United States is real, because Paris, which is a metro area of 12 million, is one of the top 3 or 4 business centers in the world.
Yeah.
Grocery store food, it's like half the price in the United States.
That's just crazy.
I go to the Soho House in LA. I went to the Soho House in Paris. My breakfast was, I was saying half. It's probably more like a third.
Are you?
Listen,
Saying, family, hear what I'm saying? They say inflation only 1-2%. Forget about it.
So, but on a cultural level, totally different. Now, mind you, this is a big, rich country. Right. People weren't really on their phone. I mean, there were some people walking, looking at their phone, but not that many.
I think.
And there's a cafe culture still, so people just start sitting.
Chill out. Still chilling, talking, right? Doing normal human stuff.
Have a drink, have a coffee.
Doing regular human stuff.
And it's all cafes everywhere. And cafe is a little misleading of a term. Cafes sound small. They're big cafes.
Right.
Setting out chairs at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Get your coffee.
Get your little croissant.
And there's stores in the neighborhoods, and like we were in a hotel. Well, there's a lot of hotels. We were obviously staying in a hotel district, but there were little grocery stores to go into. Half a gallon of fresh squeezed orange juice, which I think at Whole Foods has gotten up to $16.
Easy.
They were like $4.
I know the pomegranate I drink at Whole Foods is now $16.50.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy.
No, Whole Foods has gotten a little. It's sort of price gouging. So things were cheaper, which amazed me. The element of American culture that doesn't really exist anywhere else is that Southern. I'm going to fight in public, loudmouth people in public. That's fairly absurd. That's very barbaric.
Yeah.
And then listen,
we're used to it.
Anyone who knows me knows I'll get loud in public. So I'm not, like, I have it. Like, I can act inappropriately even now in public. I've had the police call me in stores in LA twice recently.
Just recently, yes.
My father got cuffed up at the Canadian border not many years ago, and they took his car. So believe me, I get ignorant in public, and I don't think it's not. I'm not saying you me,
All right.
but I have that. But like there, the idea that you were gonna yell in a store, it just was like, nah.
People don't do that. That is some American. That's a
Southern
American.
very
culture.
inappropriate. It's ridiculous. It makes you look crazy.
Crazy. Well, screaming and yelling in public intends to be.
Now maybe we weren't, but I mean, I went into a bunch of different areas. I mean, some were better than others, and we didn't go in the worst areas. But even there, still, I don't know. Subway was clean, or not a lot of beggars.
No.
We did get scammed.
That's
It's a very small scam. So we came out of the museum.
Flatfoot hustler, got you.
Well,
you got by a flatfoot hustler.
We come out of the Musée d'Orsay, which is like the
Shout out
top
to Brother Ty.
impressionist museum in the world, which just made the news the other day because a woman defaced a Monet painting in there, like for some environmental.
One of those
activism.
environmentalists. That's who they do.
So we come out of there. We walked there because it wasn't that far, but then my father wanted to get a cab back. But we came out, and they had these pedal cart, like a guy pedaling, and you sit in a little basket in the back. So I was like, oh, well, let's ride this back. Gypsies, watch out for them. So I'm like, oh, how much back to this district or whatever? And he was like, oh, 20. And I know what he did. He said 20, and I tried to pay him. And he said, oh, no, pay when you get there. So we get over there, and me and my father in the back, like, oh, he's pedaling so hard, we feel sorry for him, let's give him a tip. But we get to the spot, he's like, okay, you're here. And I give him 20, and my father gives him a tip. So we already gave him like 30. And then he's like, oh, no, it's 20 for each. But I know what he flipped over. So he showed me a card with prices before we left. And I tried to pay him, and he said no. And then when we get there, it was the duplicate, but it had one line, 20 each. I noticed what he did.
Definitely.
So I did get a little loud. I said, we ain't paying you.
Oh, shit.
But we gave him about 30 something anyway. But he didn't get to 40, and he didn't demand it because he wasn't going to get it.
Don't do that. Don't get loud with the people next. If you guys go to Paris, I can't be getting loud with people like that.
Nobody was scamming us.
That's what I'm saying. That's a down south. You be damned if he get on
You ain't getting over on me.
You follow any of this? It's season 3 BMF.
No.
So have you heard that?
When they talk about Tupac and all,
That's what I'm saying. So you know that they have, because you are versed in the BMF case. I mean,
I am.
You researched it.
I mean, that's how it'll be when I.
And there's a character in it called Blaze, who is a retired
Marzette.
It's supposed to obviously be. It's being based upon the Henry Marzette character, who was a real character.
50s Detroit policeman turned kingpin.
Correct. And in this alternative reality on Stars on BMF, Blaze is a retired policeman who became, yes, a kingpin.
With
but do you think that's a good thing, bad thing?
Woman-loving woman for a daughter, which is an egregious, not egregious, but it's an unnecessary detail.
Yes. Well, they really hype up her sexuality, her.
But you know that. Listen, that's one of the things I've noticed is so different about. Well, it's just about this inner city demographics that's different from when I was younger. In this bad neighborhoods, you either leave, you're super thugged out, or they're I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's old thing.
Yeah, it's pretty, and it's not that there's something wrong with it. It's just how in the space of 20 years, humans don't change.
I agree.
Right, like we're not going to start eating rocks or something. Like our basic nature doesn't change in 20 years. Maybe 50 generations or 20, Europeans can digest milk and Chinese can't, but that took 1,000 years, right? Or thousands of years. You don't change in a generation.
That's a fact.
I don't think
there's some social contagion, I believe is the word.
All these neighborhoods had all the drug addicts. The children were left unattended and wasn't getting touched.
There's no doubt that molestation in our community is the dirty little secret. I think a lot of what you peeped is that a lot of this alternative behavior lead back.
Because they're not acting like
Yeah.
See, you really
It's
shouldn't know somebody's sexuality.
Correct.
I assume we have told stories. I'm not a person who talks about, my girl and this and that. But you don't think about what I might or not be doing with my genitalia. What do you care?
Correct.
So, but if your sexuality is your primary, oh, hey, this is my gay friend. Well, damn. That's like saying this is my black friend. This is my friend. Oh, yeah. Well, okay. If it's relevant, he's gay or he's black. But that's their whole, I'm gay. It's like that's their.
Well, I mean, then back to the BMF thing.
I don't even think they all have sex with each other.
They.
Me and Cavari was in Atlanta, and we were looking at all them guys. It was loud and with the clothes. And we were like, well, who. Are they having sex with each other, or they have some secret hidden lover or something? Because they too loud, they're all alike, they too loud and dressed up to be doing it to each other.
I know a lot about a lot
I don't know what goes on.
I know a lot about a lot of things, but I don't know nothing about that. But
that's one dark alley I've not gone down.
You're funny. But I mean,
it's called a pun.
Do you think that's just Hollywood, right? I mean, they're throwing Tupac in there.
Because that's who's no, they know there's young black people from the inner city watching that show, and like 40% of them is so-called, or 60% or something, is some type of stud or something. I don't know. They didn't do it by mistake, and it sure is not based on reality.
Oh no,
nothing's by mistake. When you're spending millions of dollars to make episodes, nothing's by mistake. And it ain't reality.
Her sexuality.
Didn't they make Peach's daughter lesbian in the first season or something? They had already had a lesbian, I think.
Well, this Henrietta character took it to a whole new. I mean, without getting banned on YouTube. Different toys that she likes.
What does that have to do with selling dope? What's that got to do with selling dope?
Obviously, there's a demographic they were trying to appeal to, right?
It's the little girls that grew up in the spot.
They want to grow up to be
men because the only men they were around was running through mama.
Was not being very nice. We're not.
That's what I've been thinking about Snoop from The Wire. Her identity.
Her identity was she kills him when she was 13.
Right, exactly.
But Snoop, even though there was never any scenes of Snoop.
Right, that's right. There
was not one scene of Snoop
not one
interacting with her sexuality.
I don't think there was. It was implied because she was who she was in real life.
Right.
So that came through, but there was no.
They didn't. That was not what made her character. Unlike this Henrietta character, the fact that she's psychopathic. All the scenes with her and other women playing with the toys, shall we say, and her putting toys in different toy boxes all the time.
Oh, they're showing that.
They're showing
Which has nothing to do with selling dope.
Nothing, or even the BMF situation. Yeah. So, like you said, it was.
They put Tupac in it, didn't they? I heard that.
Yeah, they had Jack the Rapper. They got the little Meech playing his dad, of course, is conversating with Tupac.
That's made up.
just saying. But it's Hollywood, man.
I watched the one in Miami for 5 minutes, and it was like, a lot of these crime shows now, they're like Grand Theft Auto. They make up these, as it like the such and such gang, and the this and that, and the.
But have you heard they're doing? Well, you were there. I think we were talking to our buddy, and he was saying.
What do they call it? The KTs or something?
Oh, the
rivals in Miami.
Oh, it's crazy. The Black Killers, the Miami Black Killers, I believe. They
stole that from Detroit too.
Of course, a lot of that.
Our Detroit street heritage.
They're doing another documentary of Blowing Money Fast. Photo seen it Blowing Money Fast in the.
No, he didn't get $100,000.
The good people at Stars. That email obviously went to spam. About the payment of the photo, it must.
I can attest to you that some people will try to tell you payment. You get to be on TV.
I didn't even get that. People called me and they was like,
"You didn't even know they used it."
How much they give you for the picture of your daddy and Eddie? I was like, "What you talking about?" They're like, "Man, I'm blowing money fast." They show your dad, they show Demetrius, they show Mozzie, they show Frank Nitty, and they show your daddy and Eddie. So I went and peeped on them. I saw the photo here. And
I don't know when we had to go in Wayne State Virtual Motor City and find that Frank Nitty thing. They got that on the internet, I'm sure. That it was from me.
Me, probably. They didn't ask you, like, get
Well, it ain't mine. I mean, they can have, I mean, it's just funny that they, listen, let me tell you something about probably 8 years ago, I stopped responding. Something from History Channel. Nope, I don't even respond because they just want you to give them some pictures
for free.
and tell them some info.
For free.
Or for $500 or something. I'm straight.
He didn't got big, y'all.
No, I was doing that. No, I got the same morals and principles. I was doing that when I didn't have no money because I'm not.
You playing that game?
Not pimping me.
You know, a lot of our commenters asked the great question: what happened to all the money, right?
Y'all spent it.
Yeah.
So, Courtney at the peak run, we were discussing,
Right.
his dad, the bad influence on the young man here, from 93 to 97, when they were never out of the Big H,
Correct.
they had 4 or so people at the hookup table. That's where you pour the H in the mix and you make the bags. So just so you know how it works, they only got loads in for Pakistan twice a year. As long as you don't touch the D, it's fine. It can sit for 6 months.
Easy.
So they would mix up every other day,
Yes.
enough for 2 days at a time. So you might mix up 40,000 every 2 days or 50,000, whatever.
Yeah.
And so they had 4 people. They were always working a mixing table. They each got 5,000 a week. So that's 20,000 a week. That's 80,000 a month. That's 960,000 a year plus some other expenses. We figured there 1.1 million a year just salary of people hooking up. And it's not people working the spot,
Transportation.
lawyer, nothing.
Lawyers.
That's just that.
So when right now, I be thinking like, people, do you think when we say we was doing 100,000 a week, you think what that was? Pop was on the corner by itself, hand in hand, and it was not a whole support staff supporting that kind of business.
That's
So
how
a lot
that's
of
how that works.
It's a lot of labor, payroll, lawyers, accountants, workers, hookup table, security,
the mix,
security,
the stuff. When you're
and
doing that level, you got to buy a rubber band. Like all that stuff costs money.
you know, you ever heard a statistic that Pablo Escobar spent $5 million in rubber bands?
Yeah.
Right. But if Mike Tyson can go through 200 million, if MC Hammer can go through 200 million, all which lead back to them just no financial. And we're gonna, last before we get out of here, you know, when we talk about this, our new project, Beyond Street Dreams.
Well, it also went into human capital. You're not a sophisticated person you are because you had all those experiences and did all that stuff.
School, tuition.
I mean, I know these last
School in
years
Europe.
had a couple bucks. Like you do stuff to do it and get it out of you know, I've had that experience.
Yes.
Now, what boggles my mind is for some people it never gets old. Like Puff, like did the partying not? Did being at a club and Puffy's here? Like you've been doing it for 30 years.
No shade on Brother Combs. Puff got substance abuse problem. Man.
Yeah, because that's going to a bar. Okay, that's fun for a while. Okay, now I'm the party promoter. That's fun. Now we getting drunk.
But not when you're 50.
Yeah,
Now
it
when
got to
you're
be
50.
something
Now
else.
when
Like
you're
you
50.
got to be
Yeah.
getting pretty. Done had plenty of women.
Oh,
And
yeah, when you
so
fit-
you got to be probably getting into some weird stuff for it to hit that excitement button. If that's what you're looking for, looking for excitement. You know, you need to find things that are just fulfilling and enjoyable. Because excitement is for when you're young, when everything's new.
20, what was cool, was cute and cool at 25 is kind of tragic at 45.
What'd you say?
Kind of pathetic at
Guys
50.
you know at 20 were buying 50s and now they're 50 buying 20s.
Yeah, I was at some friends and, you know, they was doing what they do with the nose hook up. And you know, I had my struggle. I went through a bout, you know, and well, where did some of the money go? Well, I had one 90-day period where I smoked and tricked off $250,000.
And people will help you spend your money.
Oh.
And I'm even not talking about on doing nothing crazy. Just, listen, going out to eat
Every day.
twice a day with your man and your girl. And
your man's
bring your car,
man.
Yeah, bring your girlfriend too. I got it. 300-400 twice a day,
All day.
month after year.
Yes.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot.
And that's what you're doing with your friends. What are you doing with your mother, your aunt? Oh, here, go.
How many cousins, when you go to all family events, you have to bring $5,000 with you? Because you're going to give that away. You ain't seen your family in 2-3 months.
We know you got it.
They know you're getting money.
You sell drugs for it, so you ought to be willing to give it away because you get it easy. That's their perception.
Or don't even care.
Yeah,
The fact
don't even
is,
think about
y'all eating
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
And I mean, so a lot goes with it. But the financial literacy, if you getting a big bag and running through it is the same to me as getting drafted, going pro, or being an entertainer.
But you guys also you paid for educating your sisters, educate your education.
Private school.
You were in private school while your father was doing a 7-year federal prison term.
That is correct.
So a lot of money was spent on productive
My sister
things.
was getting her master's degree in Europe.
while he was in prison.
while
That
he
was
was
off
in-
the 70s money.
That was awesome.
And he did other things with the 80s, 90s money. So
But that was where we're going to go, of course, into that.
supporting an extended family and just an upper middle class lifestyle, a couple extra household people. I mean, your parents had parents.
Correct.
That is helping them out of them. Like they worked, but they were giving them something, I'm sure. Brothers and sisters and their kids. You're buying Christmas presents for 10 kids. Like it's a lot of things.
It's a lot.
You don't have to be, I blew it on prostitutes and gambling. I mean,
No, that just accelerates.
yeah,
it.
that makes it go real
Prostitutes
fast.
and gambling.
Regular
and
life,
drugs.
you can spend
We've been
plenty.
Just so when people hear
A
these
few bad business transactions, playing business,
when you don't, especially when you don't know,
or you don't have, or you
There's a
don't
learning
have time to pay attention.
attention.
That's what I learned with some of the stuff I was
Oh,
doing.
'cause
Like,
then they just rob you.
or it doesn't even have to be that bad. It could just be business. You got to pay attention.
Yes.
I find I put too many balls in the air that we're all worked and we're
Legitimate.
fine and nothing particularly bad happened. But if you're not gonna pay attention every day to them, it's gonna peter out. Oh, I put all this money in this building. We're gonna do something in, but now I got to go sit at the building and advertise, and now I don't feel like it. So the $30,000 I put into it was a waste, and you kind of got to go through it
To
learn.
understand there, that's what the point, and I think we'll get to it in this project. We learned lessons from the 70s that made us a little smarter in the 80s. We learned some lessons in the 80s that made us significantly smarter in the 90s. And even when the tragedy comes at the end of the 90s, when the case finally come in the early 2000s, we had 30 years of experience, and and obviously everybody acted like they had a lot better sense.
But just so his dad was doing it 7 years from 75 to 82 or 77 to 84, whatever it was.
Yeah.
They downsized a little, but they were still in a very above average home, new cars every year. He was in private school, and his sister was in private school and going to Europe.
Mom's in school. Well, mom's in
school with
also.
a business. So a lot was going on, and 7 years is a long time.
Yes.
So he didn't run through all the money. He had plenty when he left.
Yeah, I mean, we did better than most.
Oh, no, I mean, he did better than almost all. Let's just be honest, because there's been enough years of all these documentaries and investigation, and enough of these people's kids have talked. Like, very few have much other than some photos of dad in a fur coat.
They didn't have any financial literacy, Al. They didn't understand money.
They also didn't have strong family
And
structure.
you always.
That's really, having now been around different sets of people that, have had these very unique experiences, so very few people even meet you or one sort of people like you. I've met many and know people's personal business, and not that I talk about it if they don't want to, but not good outcomes for most. But some, but
Well, we're gonna go into a few, obviously. In the
But a
doc.
lot of it family stuff. I mean, Frank Lucas, who you all think is the hottest thing since sliced bread from a fake movie.
Very fake
I was
movie.
sitting in Ike Atkinson's apartment when Richie Roberts, who was the white cop turned lawyer who Russell Crowe played in the movie, called and was like, "Oh, I just got Frank probation. He was stealing his son." This is after the movie came out.
This
He ran
is
through the
after
money.
American
He
Gangster.
got $900,000 in a house. He ran through that. His son, he didn't name his son Junior. His son was named Frank and was getting some type of disability or something. And he was stealing his son's disability checks. Can you imagine
R.I.P. Frank Lucas. I'm gonna just leave it. I'm gonna leave it at that. But yeah, we met.
that? Never told on any police. Told on all co-conspirators.
Despite you mean
The
a man
exact opposite of the movie.
of what
Didn't
they.
tell on one cop. He was, listen to this. for your tonight's scared straight of stay out of the drug game.
Okay.
One of the conspiracy cases Frank Lucas helped me. He tied together, like I think either 2 or 3 separate drug rings by saying, well, I know that they all get their cut, which in and of itself was illegal.
Okay.
Manite, Bonita, whatever they call it.
Right.
From the
Manitow, Bonita, whatever.
same druggist or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So the feds made a RICO that put them all in it and said, well, you're all part of the same conspiracy because your cut comes from the same drugstore. Well, it stood. I'd have been Goldfinger in that. Like, it was
American justice at its best. Wow. We met Ike. Right when he came home, he was at Black Star. He used to do business with Black Star. Remember Black Star?
No, well.
At Pops. Yeah, he did a lot of business with you. And him and his daughter was
you
there.
weren't there. We had the event at the Museum for the American Gangster. We showed Frank Matthews.
You did it at Black Star?
Well, no, we did like the after party at Black Star. Museum for the American Gangster is right up in like Upper West Side or something, not too far from our or maybe it was Lower East Side, whatever, but in Manhattan. And then we had like a little event at Black Star. Oh, yeah.
That's all right.
That's where we met, who was your man from Queens that just passed? Slim switch size on me.
No, he ain't the one.
bank robber.
Yeah. Wow. That's small world. Black Star, back in the last glory days of the DVDs, right?
Shout out to Pop.
Shout out to Pops. Pop did us right. I think you probably turned us on to Pop.
Yep, and Tape Man Inc. They paid all the money. They did solid business. And of course, Ice, world famous Ice.
World Ice, we got to get together, man. With world famous Ice, Harlem World. You better ask somebody about Ice H2O. Straight stand-up guys. Shout out to his man Kevin too. Just stand-up guys. By the way, this Saturday, right, Lou? It's Saturday, yes. 111 Kirby Street. Hustle and Grind evening of Detroit authors. I think it starts at 4.
Hustle and Dance?
Hustle and Grind. Now this is for the hustle to get money.
Get my ballroom
get money crew. Speaking of that, was a Cavarro. We was just chopping up. We was talking about Terry Woods and how he helped back in the good old days of print. That shout out to Terry Woods and all the urban authors again. That's 111 Kirby this Saturday. Hustle and Grind, but he did Terry a favor before she kind of blew up in the writing world and ran an ad for her books in Don Diva. And she told him, when I blow up one day, I'm going to break some bread with you in this magazine.
Never did.
Nah, actually just the opposite. Ran an ad. Ran an ad every issue, I think. And I think even when ownership or management changed, she knew that. She knew that crew too, because shout out to legendary Blue from Harlem.
When did he?
He home.
He home. How much time did he do? Not that, but
on this
5 or 7.
On this last one, yeah.
How old?
Hell of a stand-up guy. Blue got to be a couple years older than me.
So not too old.
Yeah.
So he's still good.
Absolute Harlem legend.
You saw him?
I have not seen him.
We should try to.
I'm gonna see when we.
You don't have nobody that could reach out. Cavario. Get contact with him.
Right. That's how he's the one who introduced.
He'd be a good guy because you were in
the Black Man Jury. Anybody who remember Harlem in the 90s, 125th Street. As soon as you walked into the Mart, you saw Black Men's Jury. It was a truly inspirational thing. I didn't know who Blue was at the time, and. But you walk in, you see these brothers with a display case full of Rolexes. Their claim to fame was they had the largest Rolex collection of any African-American jeweler in America. Blue and his crew really actually knew how to melt down gold. I mean, they were real jewelers, set diamonds, and all that shit. And Game recognized Game. So he had just come home from doing a little bit, I don't know if he had violation or whatever. But by this time, I'd already peeped. He is somebody on 100. You know when you know.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing my thing with Coogie's, and something just said, pay homage, man. See, I ain't like that. When in Rome, I wasn't in Detroit. He was the guy up there.
Yeah.
And I gave him like Coogee sweater, Coogee bow tie, and some other novelty stuff. And the next day, he's wearing everything I gave him. And you could tell he was proud, and from that day on, he was like, because Blue used to throw a lot of parties. Him, Peter Shue, all them guys were throwing a lot of big parties, right? whenever and his crew be there before buying their jewelry and shit for the parties, and he'd be like, "Hey, yo, I need to go down to that boy from Detroit, my man Joe Boxer down there, buy some of them coochies. Fuck going down to Macy's and Blue. Get Joe to play." And when Blue spoke, people listened. And so shout out, man. I'll never forget that you was real stand-up guy. Stand-up guy. Black man jewelry. We need more of that. We'll be talking about it in the project. Yeah, but that'd be great to get them involved.
Sure.
Yeah, to get them involved. So what do you think else? What you got coming, American Dope? Besides your producing and directing.
Well, Beyond Street Dreams is our big project. So,
right.
As you can tell by the title, we're moving to the next phase of trying to understand what this whole world of the so-called streets means. But I'm gonna just give you one bit of food for thought. So him and his family were obviously in big kingpins, as was Cavario and his family. And now being close friends with both of them, neither of them nor their families are street people to me, in the sense that street people to me are the winos, the bums, the addicts, the poor children in a bad neighborhood, the person with the bag on the corner with the dimes. They didn't run around in the streets. They ran the streets. But if you know them and they're your friend and you're in their house, very calm. I mean, they can not be calm, but I mean, very, always nice to me.
Yeah.
Talking a low tone of voice, as you should, with your friends and family.
With your inside voice in that.
Talk with your inside voice with inside people.
And
you only go out in the streets to pick up the money. You don't go hanging out, because it ain't nothing but losers out in the streets.
It was a job. And in Cavario's case, it kind of some of a
family values is what kept you from succumbing
to the buffoonery.
Well, Courtney, during all this hustling, would have jobs. You would
I have a pretty good resume.
Managed a bunch of different big places.
Big stuff, big places. Reebok Concept Store, Lincoln Center,
While
New
being
York.
a part of this $20,000 a day spot.
Ran the biggest gap.
While you're dropping all this stuff off. But that's what you got to do, because you have to maintain some sort of normalcy.
And we just thought it made sense. If you can't just be living like this.
It's not even fun. Like, listen, to just wake up and I'm going to go drop off some drugs and then just go shopping and spend money. Like, that's not even.
Well, I learned a lot
enjoyable.
too, which of course made me much more valuable to myself and to the family, because I learned and got exposed to a lot of people. And I met smart people from different cultures who those relationships have served
like
me.
Knowledge and experience in life, as opposed to, I was watching a interview from the 70s. NBC did like a 40-minute special on pimps in America. This is like, oh yeah, it was like on a network. And they asked the one guy, well, what do you do in the day you make all this money? He said, I wake up and I decide if I want to go back to sleep. And they were like, well, what else do you do? And he was like, that's about it. I get dressed. I dress and I rest. I guess that was a saying in the 70s. I dress and I rest. Well, that doesn't even sound too fun.
It sounds slick till you think about what he just said. So basically, you ain't doing shit with your life.
Even though you're making some money.
And you got money to do a lot of shit.
Enamored, absorbed with the idea that they ain't gonna make me do nothing. That even when you have some money of your own and you can do what you want to do, you still don't want to do nothing. Because you're gonna prove like I don't have to leave the house.
After living in New York.
Truncated dreams.
After living in New York all those years, like, it hit me one time. I guess I was going through one of those phases, and I was like, I hadn't been to the cloisters, I hadn't been to the botanical gardens, and I was like, I'm playing myself.
Yeah.
And I just took like 3 months.
Just to do stuff.
And every day.
Went somewhere. An activity.
I went to the Brooklyn Botanical Garden, Bronx Botanical Garden, up to the cloisters.
I always do it. That's always, no matter what. Like,
Bronx Zoo, up to
take
Fordham
a girl
University.
I'll be like, we're doing a wholesome activity this Sunday.
Yeah.
Go to the zoo. Well, you got to do that type of stuff.
I was like, I've been in New York 8 years. I ain't never been to Fordham University, and I'm supposed to. And I went up, and learn Fordham's area. That's kind of what you're supposed to be. The advantages of having.
A lot of people don't know their own city. Adults. I'm not talking about a kid.
Yeah. So we're gonna chop it up. Beyond Street Dreams.
Crash at the Grand River.
If y'all don't know about American Dope and Al Prophet, then you've probably been under a rock somewhere. But
Or smoking one.
it's oops. So make sure you do that. Again, make sure you guys are hitting that like, share, and subscribe button. They can go and leave the email right at beyondstreetdreams.com.
Yep.
You want to start to get some information going over to the landing page there.
You have
Obviously,
book face too?
I'm sorry.
The book face? Facebook?
We do. Do we have the book of the face, Louis? Not yet.
Go to Big Boss Filmworks, and there will be a Beyond Street Dreams Facebook post.
Oh yeah, and you guys need to. We appreciate the support we're getting on the other platforms. So yeah, you guys, if you're not on YouTube, you can definitely check us out on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. It's a couple of the things we do on those platforms that we don't do here on YouTube. So if you like the kind of content we're putting down, make sure you check out our Facebook page, our TikTok, and our Instagram. Anything you got, Lou, before we sign out?
Actually, I think we covered it all.
Okay, and again, if you're local here in Detroit, 111 East Kirby, this Saturday, June the 9th?
Yeah.
Is that
No, Sunday the 9th.
June?
Saturday's 8th.
June 8th, 111 East Kirby, Hustle and Grind. Shout out to Michelle Moore, the Essence of Winning author, and good people at Say You Promise Publishing. Behind that, you're going to see some of Detroit's premier filmmakers. You know, there's a whole network of Detroit filmmakers that are going to be participating, and authors from all over the country come in. So you guys like to read, like like urban fiction, like good literatures of all different types. Stop by. It's always a good time. And so again, that's 111 East Kirby this Saturday, the 8th. Hustle and Grind. So again, Al, appreciate you coming through, family. Big Lou, you
All
good?
right. Oh, yeah.
So it's your man, CRB, here at Big Boss Filmworks, Motown Mafia. We're going to call it for the last time Podcast 70, but it's really show number 70 because we ain't just a podcast. We put on a show.
Showtime, baby.
It's a show. So this is going to be the last time, unless I slip, I'm going to refer
I'm
to
Kurt Rambis, Showtime, late.
all that. And back in the day, that's right, at the Forum, not the Staples
The
Center.
Fabulous Forum.
The
Inglewood,
Showtime
California.
lady, but ask somebody if you don't.
I'm from the Fabulous Forum in Inglewood, California.
When you don't know, it is best to ask somebody. That's all I'm saying. So again, man, it's us. Thank you guys. Appreciate everybody. Like, share, subscribe. We're on all platforms. We do. Motown Mafia, directed by Al Prophet, award-winning documentary, available on Amazon Prime, on Tubi, on Pluto TV, based on the book Motown Mafia, available at Amazon.
Just type it in Google, you see where
It's all gonna come down. So again, we got a high bar, Al. We was critically acclaimed first time we hooked up. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
We
We're
gotta
taking our time, but it's coming this fall.
It's going
Very
down.
dope.
Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. It's your man, CRB Jr. Holla at you, man. Peace.
And cut.
Good job. Thanks.
1973. The Detroit Free Press's front page proclaims, "Dope kingpins get away with it." They had names like Jesse James, Pretty Ricky, the Black Greek, and Mr. Clean. 2 of the 12 men listed as Detroit's biggest heroin dealers were next-door neighbors, and in reality, they were the 2 largest heroin dealers in Detroit, dwarfing the other men on the list.
Got 12 kilos. We gonna cut it 10 times at a minimum. So that'd have been 120 kilos.
The audience needs to understand the significance of black entrepreneurship.
Customer give me the money, put the money through a chute in the door. They would drop the dope down right in front of the door.
And everybody was getting money. Everybody was getting money that time.
Always bags of money coming and going in the house.
Almost to the ceiling, just a room full of money stacked to the ceiling.
Eddie had shot past everybody in the city put together.
The gentleman gangster. Meet the right people, make the right connections, make everyone happy, and do it all without having to really brandish a gun.
Nicky Bond, snitch. Frank Lucas, snitch. Where's the real ones?
I said, give me the pistol. And I said, I should blow your goddamn brains out right now.
The 750 murders last year was a record for Detroit, murder capital of the country.
This is a story about a real one. From the beginning to the end, never telling on nobody,
Eddie the Fat Man Jackson, charismatic son of a pool hall owner, and his chief lieutenant, Courtney the Field Marshal Brown, a former city bus driver, had built an empire on a par with men like Nicky Barnes and Frank Lucas of New York. But theirs was a very different and in many ways more sophisticated operation than Barnes and Lucas's, based on family ties and finesse more than murder and mayhem.
I went into that foolishness. It was business to me.
He kept it so separate, and he's my Little League baseball coach.
Family came first.
He would keep a pistol at the bottom of the Halloween bag.
Boom, 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 boom. I'm gonna shoot you right down.
We had guys working 3 shifts. They were just like they worked before. We paid vacation. They worked 8 hours a day. They got paid for overtime. And we had a bunch of law workers.
Okay, I'm gonna take 250 people. I got $1 million to blow. We all gonna go down here and blow this $1 million together.
Throwing money out of the car down in the Brewster Project.
Me and Eddie used to buy 2 and 3 keys of cocaine just for our personal.
The entertainers wanted to take pictures with the likes of those men like Eddie Jackson.
You name them, we served them. Richard Pryor, the Dale, the OJ.
It's just a couple of old white guys sitting around a desk with a whole bunch of people bringing them money in. And what they were doing they were money launderers.
You know, you ask yourself questions like tobacco. How many people died last year from tobacco when we started talking about the moral value of what Eddie Jackson and others do? I'm not condoning what they do. What I'm simply saying is that there are many on that playing field.
People from Israel, there's some people from South America, there's some people from West Africa, and then it's myself.
Everybody in the city knew Eddie Jackson, and everybody knew he was on top of the pyramid. I was his right-hand man.